What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Agree to Disagree podcast, where we talk sports, music, culture, all the above. Sometimes we can land on the same page. Other times, you got to agree to disagree. My name is Justin Pay. I'm coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California. I am joined by my coast-to-coast co-host, Coach T. T, can you say something to the people?
Oh, you said sunny California. I'm in the best city in the world right now, New York City. So that's what I am. That's where I'm at. There we go.
The Big Apple. It's crazy to say I've still only been to New York like twice, coming from the East Coast, but one of these days I'm gonna get over there. So yeah, we got a great show coming up for you guys. We're gonna talk a little bit of pretty much a lot of things going on NBA. As a lot of people like to say, the NBA can't go 24 to 48 hours without being overly dramatic. A lot of things happened this week, so we'll get into draft, trade talks, just general moves around the league. So yeah, got a couple good things coming up for you guys, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Topic number one, draft talk and draft reactions. A lot of stuff happened last night. A lot of things that I thought were going to happen that didn't. A lot of things that I didn't think would happen that did. Just a lot of things going on around the league. So I'll pitch this one to you first off. So yeah, what were some of your takeaways from the draft last night? Anybody you're really looking forward to seeing? Any team that you have some question marks about? You know, what were you thinking watching that last night?
So this shocked everybody. I don't know if it specifically shocked me, but the Cam Whitmore fall into number 20. People are excited for the Rockets about that. We'll see. The Rockets are a mess. I mean, the coach is I don't know. They got a coach that hopefully he can lead young men because because what their top player is, they said, is awful, like in the locker room. So we'll see if he could gain their respect. I mean, he's a pretty, I guess, like, I don't know, like stern, I guess is the word. Like he's like a no nonsense kind of guy, but with all his recent transgressions, you don't know if people are going to take him serious. So it'd be good to see if the young people could take him serious. But the Cam Whitmore thing was a big slide. And then one more thing I'll say is I'm looking at the Raptors. They only had one pick, but they got Grady Dick, and I think he's going to be a star. He's going to have that little like Tyler Hero in him where you're like, wait a minute, I know you were this good, or like Devin Bookerish, I believe. So I think he's in between that. I think he's better than Hero. And I think I'm not going to say he's going to be better than Booker because that's a lot to say. But I think he's between those two, that kind of talent. So excited to see what they do. But Toronto's a joke too right now. So we'll see.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway, I had a couple takeaways from the draft, but the biggest one that I had was genuinely, what the hell are the Blazers doing? Like, in all seriousness,
What do you want them to do?
they were put in a position where they had to get Scoot, right? Like, obvious, like I would assume that they were hoping that the Hornets would take Scoot and they would have no choice but to get Brandon Miller because that would be a better fit. They had to take Scoot. Obviously, they did the right thing there. But it's like, now you have Dame, you got Anthony Simons, who, if I had to guess, now that they drafted Scoot, won't be on the roster come tip off in October. But yeah, now you have three guards, and it's just like, what direction are you guys? I don't see the vision of what they're trying to do here. Like, they don't have the tools and the pieces on the team to build something around Dame that's going to win a championship. Like, you're paying the dude $60 million. I don't think you're doing all that if you're not trying to win something. I don't think you're just trying to be competitive. So I don't know, man. I'm looking at the Blazers. I'll see what moves they make in the offseason. But yeah, I'm a little bit confused at what they got going on over there in Portland.
So now if you're them, do you would you trade the pick, or would you have to pick somebody else?
At this point, for me, it makes them. I definitely would have. I would have. They tried to trade the pick. They tried to posture earlier this week, putting out all these reports that were clearly false. Clearly came from the Blazers front office trying to get better packages. They did try to trade the pick, but they didn't get anything they felt was good enough. Which I can understand. They did the right thing for the position that they are in. They did do the right thing taking Scoot. But for me, in my opinion, it only makes sense now that you have Scoot. Like, just get rid of Dame. I don't understand. Like, literally blow it up. Like, blow it up. You're gonna get a haul back for Dame. And to me, the opposite stance of that is to just do what they're doing right now and just try and put together a team that can maybe sneak into what a fifth seed, best case scenario, if you guys make some good moves, because there's teams you're not competing with in the West right now, especially after what the Suns just did. The Nuggets are coming back. Memphis got Marcus Smart now. We'll see what kind of, and we'll get into all that later. But like, I don't know, man. For me, I think they should just blow it up. But
To
I
me, it's like, what is a haul for you? Because are you sure they'll get a haul for Dame?
it's that yeah, it's
Like,
Damian.
like just pick a team and then tell me what they would give him. Like, I don't know, like pick the Heat. What would they give him? That's a haul.
The Heat, it would
Like,
have to
I'm just trying to
be
figure out what team could
one of
really
them.
be a haul. That's a
Yeah.
contender.
If the Heat were to trade for Bam, it would definitely. If the Heat were to trade for Dame, it would definitely be Bam or Tyler Heroes going for sure. Caleb Martin is in there for sure. Obviously, at least 2 first-round picks or a first-round pick and a pick swap. Like the Heat have the, and to me, that's a pretty good return for a player that I think they have under contract for another 2 years. Obviously, it's Damian Lillard, but like, if it ever did come out that he does want to get traded, obviously the teams trading for him are going to know that they have a little bit of leverage because he wants out. But then at the same time, if you're the Blazers, like, look, we've taken it this far, we'll let it ride out. We're not just going to accept any trade package. So I definitely think they would get a really good package back for Dame. And personally, now that you have a point guard who is at least perceived to be generational, if you drafted him, obviously you did your due diligence. Maybe not generational, but he's looking like he's going to be a really good all-star caliber level guard. You have that now, so I say just get rid of Dame, man.
You're not getting Bam. So it's like, I don't know if it'll actually be a haul for Dame from contenders. You get a haul from scrubs, but Dame's not going there. So out of all the contenders I see, that the best player I think that they could probably get is Chris Middleton in like a sign and trade. There's nobody else like Hero. Maybe if you think he's better than Chris Middleton, but to me, those are the two best players that they could get back for Dame, and I think that's why they haven't made the move because it's like I don't think they could get a haul like people think. Maybe if you consider the haul a bunch of picks, okay, but they're not really gonna get anybody for Dame if you really think about it. No one's giving up Bam, and then who else is out there? They're not gonna give the Lakers are not going to give AD for him. So it's like, what high caliber player are they really going to get back? So I don't really know if the market is as good as people like think it is for him.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess we'll see if he even ends up getting freaking traded. I doubt he'll get traded this offseason, but things obviously change. It's like two totally different outlooks between the draft and the beginning of the season, and then the beginning of the season and All-Star break. Like, those are when things are. So we'll freaking see, man. But then yeah, also with the draft, you obviously got the big. I almost wanted to say elephant in the room, but I guess I'll say the baguette in the room. You got Victor Wembanyama going #1 overall to the San Antonio Spurs. So I have to ask you, what's your outlook on this kid? Do you think he is the next freaking whatever the hell, the best prospect since LeBron James? Like, what are your impressions of him when you look at him?
He's going to be really good. I mean, it wouldn't be a reason why he doesn't play well unless like somebody Markel Fultz him or something or like just messes him up completely. But other than that, his skills, he's going to score. It's the NBA. Like, he's going to score.
Mm-hmm.
And then people talk about defense. I mean, it honestly really doesn't matter if he plays defense or not. Like, it's the NBA once again. So I think he's going to be really good. They're still going to be really bad this year. They're going to be bad next year. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'll definitely watch a game, but I mean, he's a 20-10 guy for sure. That's just what it is. We'll see how those like little legs hold up. He keeps talking about, I don't know, he was just saying like weird comments that I didn't really like. He was like, yeah, maybe people will get skinny. Why do people have to, sweetie? Like, do you understand? Like, like I guess I get
82
you
games.
not wanting people to talk about your body, but like you sound ridiculous. It's a reason people like you and or that looked like you before. Obviously, nobody was that tall, but like actually, it was like 5 players taller than him in the NBA history, and they were all injured. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
the concerns about that are legit. He's definitely gonna get hurt. I'm not trying to jinx him or nothing. Like
Nah,
he's
but like
definitely like you're gonna get
it's
hurt.
gonna happen. Like
And in Australia, they play like 1 game a week. It's like now you have to play maybe 3 games this week. No, like you're like I don't. He needs to like he'll realize soon as he get one to the chest from Giannis real quick. I
mm-hmm.
don't know who the first game of the season is, but he gonna realize right away, like, all right, like let me stop playing around. But everybody has that maturation process. But as far as like just strictly his play, he'll be a 20-10 guy. It's like a no brainer.
Mm. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I always just like it is different in today's NBA because when I first got into the NBA back around like the late 2000s, early 2010s, rookies didn't really come in and do what they're doing today. Like there was still kind of that gradual process of like even number one overall guys like just giving them a little bit of a feel out period. And that to a degree that still does kind of exist. But these guys are so NBA ready today. You got people like Wembanyama who've been playing professionally since they were teenagers, Luca, same type of deal. Um, so with all the hype, like I don't know, like I would still look at his season as a success if he were to average 13, 14 points and 8 blocks, 8 rebounds with 2 blocks on solid efficiency. Like for a rookie year, like I feel like people have this expectation of what he's supposed to be, and I feel like some people think he's going to be that right away. Where people forget like this is still a teenager at the end of the day. Like he's 7'5" and has this tremendous skill set we've never seen before, but he's still like young. He still needs to learn the NBA. He's still obviously his body needs to grow. Like so I'm not looking for massive numbers out of him this year. I absolutely do see him be, health willing, a 20-10 guy. I don't know how you couldn't with what he does. Again, especially in today's NBA with the spacing that will be available to him. But like, yeah, in terms of his rookie year, like I'm just looking, I just hope he can play at least 55 games and show flashes of like, oh yeah, this is gonna be give it 2 years and it's over. But
You
yeah,
saying 13 points? You say you'd be happy with?
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be ideal, but if it was an efficient 13 points, like 13 points on like at somebody his height, 55, 60% shooting, I'm not mad at that.
I don't know.
The
If he
only
averages 13 points, Pop gotta go. There's no way. Like there's no way. That team is god awful. There's no way.
Yeah, because you also got to think about like who else is going to be taking the shots. Right now, their number one option is Keldon Johnson, who's a quality player. Go Wildcats, but he's like I don't know. Now that I really think about it, yeah, 13 is a little low because he should be taking more shots than that. But yeah, I'm just I guess the main point I'm trying to say is that I'm not expecting crazy stats rookie year. I just want to see efficiency and flashes of the talent like that. Hopefully he'll be able to do this consistently over the next couple years.
Okay.
So closing out, I hate to put you on the spot here. Closing out draft. I have the draft in front of me now, and I already know who I had a sleeper coming into this draft. Do you have one sleeper that you feel like people are like, what would you say your sleeper is Cam Whitmore? Because he wasn't supposed to fall that far, but is there somebody you're looking at that you're like, man, I feel like this guy is a little bit better than people think?
Okay, shameless plug. I gotta go with Jarris Walker. Um, that the Wizards picked for the Pacers. Um, LeBron body type.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm guessing it, but he's a
I mean,
big,
he ain't
strong,
small.
physical forward. Slasher finishes at the rim, could defend 1 through 5, could literally defend 1 through 5 easily. It won't even be a mismatch. Like they would just be like switch, like
Mm-hmm.
1 through 5 easily defended. Rebounder, shot blocker, slasher, screener, 3-point shooter. Like he actually has everything in his game. And
Mhm.
the Pacers actually, like for me, I think they had one of the best drafts out of the night. And they still have some pieces there, and they held on to a lot of guys that people wanted them to trade. So it'll be interesting to see if they double down on not trading these guys or what. But don't sleep on the Pacers.
Mm, okay, I like that one a lot. I definitely like that one a lot. Putting him with somebody like Halliburton as well, who's emerging as clearly like a top 10 point guard in this league. I'd like to see him with. I'd like to see them together for sure, and seeing what they can get going on in godforsaken Indiana, because I don't. They haven't been. It's been a long time since they've been relevant, but yeah, for me, one person that I was looking at the end of the college basketball season, I was looking at mock drafts, and this guy was projected to go in early second round, late first. And then I guess he killed his workouts, and he got a lot of people had him getting drafted in like the 20s. Jaime Jaquez Jr., I think, could not have gone to a better play. I remember watching this guy play. And the only thing I could think, and like, just watching him, I'd be like, that's what got me to looking up, like, where's he projected to go in the draft? Because I see an NBA player. Like, I see the stuff he was doing at UCLA, he's not going to be doing in the NBA. He was getting a lot of post touches, like, at 6'7", that's not going to be going down in the NBA. Really working the mid range a lot. He won't be able to play the same game as he did in college in the NBA, but like, just that championship pedigree, that edge, and his game is so polished. Like, he doesn't do a lot of extra. He doesn't do a lot of wasted movements. Coming up into the draft, I thought to myself, I'd love to see Jaime Jaquez on a winning team, because if you were to put him somewhere like the Hornets, I feel like he is gonna just be able to just like probably go out there and get buckets. I believe he has the talent to do that. But somewhere like the Heat, I feel like he can crack their rotation next year. How many minutes, like, consistently, like, I don't know, but I feel like he can get like meaningful playing time. And somewhere like the Heat, with obviously Heat culture, like, I feel like that's perfect. I'm gonna have my eye on him over the next couple years, because I feel like the Heat definitely drafted a really good one.
No, I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right for sure. You're not gonna like this comparison, but I could see a little peak Kyle Anderson ish in the league. I think that's what he'll be in the league. I think he'll be whatever the best version of Kyle Anderson has ever been. I feel like that's his
I
game.
I I don't hate that comparison at all. I hate, like, aesthetically watching Kyle Anderson play just because of the way he moves and the way he shoots, like, on my eyes. But he's a good basketball player. I see what you're saying. Like, he always makes the right pass, does the right thing, like, is in the right place at the right time. So I could totally see that comp. I just hate watching Kyle Anderson move. He just like,
So
ugh, God. All right. Topic number 2, trade talks. Trade talks around the NBA. We already got into Dame a little bit during our draft conversation. Maybe we'll circle back around that. So where do you even want to start? I'll between Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, and Kristaps Porzingis, which one of those for you sticks out to you the most, and why?
we could talk to Chris Paul. I don't hate it like everyone else I feel like does. I just felt like I don't we don't know what was happening behind the scenes. Maybe somebody else is trying to trade for him. So the Warriors are like, all right, we have to trade for him. But I was gonna say, like, a guy that you could have got on the waiver, why trade Poole for him? Because I felt like you could have got a better haul for Poole, or at least a bunch of draft picks or something, because the Warriors need that.
Mhm.
So again, I don't know on the back end if somebody else was trying to trade for him and they were like, all right, we just got to pull the trigger. But as far as the roster makeup, let's assume Draymond resigns.
Mhm. Which
I
I
don't
think.
think, I don't think it's bad at all. People are like, oh, well, Curry's the point guard. So, and then people are like, oh, well, Chris Paul doesn't run fast. So
It's Chris
you
Paul.
have this, that, right, it's Chris Paul. Like, let's not be disrespectful. Like, everywhere Chris Paul has been, he's won. You can say, oh, he doesn't have a ring. Okay, a lot of people don't have a ring. Everywhere he's been, he's won. And
Mhm.
every time he's gotten traded to a terrible team,
They start winning.
they've immediately won immediately.
Mhm.
And he's always been on title contenders. Every team he's been on was a title contender. Now they may have underachieved, he may have got hurt, whatever you want to say. They were immediately a title contender.
I
Every single
agree.
team. So
Everyone.
like it doesn't. So now you're with great coaching with great players, and people think it's not going to work. Like, oh, they're small. They were small with Poole. They got another small guy. Now you have a player who can pass, is smart, and can still score if he needs to. And two of those things are not Jordan Poole. So to me, I think it's actually a great move. I would have wanted it for a lesser price, but I think Chris Paul going there is a great move.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's my take on Chris Paul.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I I don't quite I can't quite visualize how it's gonna work because are you gonna start are you gonna start Chris Paul? Like are you gonna play him next to Steph, move Clay to the three? I don't know how you start Chris Paul because you got Wiggins too. And if we're
Wiggins at
two,
the four.
huh?
Wiggins at the four.
And Draymond at the five?
They were doing that anyway.
They weren't starting like that. That would be their closing lineup. They weren't tipping off the ball with Draymond at the five.
I mean, yeah, you could start Looney like just out of whatever, but I'm not high on that anyway. Just like start your guys. That's me personally. Who are your five guys? Start them. Because the
Uh,
same way you gotta adjust to, or you might be, like, oh, they're small. They gotta, how they gonna guard this? Okay, well, how y'all gonna guard me? You know what I mean? So if you want to start Looney, cool. Bring Chris Paul up the bench. Me personally, if I have a Chris Paul on my team, I gotta find out a way to start him. I don't care how old he is, whatever. I gotta find a way. It's Chris Paul. I gotta find a way to start Chris Paul. That's just me. But go ahead, finish your thought.
me personally, I'm probably bringing him off the bench, but he's playing like a real six-man role. Like he depending on the durability of his body at this age, because that's a huge concern. Like I'd ideally like him hovering around like 30 minutes a game, ideally off the bench. Um, but yeah, I like it. I am totally with you when you say every team that Chris Paul goes to, they immediately get better. I don't know how you can look at Chris Paul going to the Warriors and not say that they got better, especially after the season that Jordan Poole just had. I'm not even a lot of people just started wild hating on Jordan Poole this year. I don't fall into that camp. I do still think he's a good player. He obviously his shot selection is suspect at best, and it's about to get a lot worse now that he's in Washington and he ain't got two of the greatest shooters ever taking away shots for him. He'll really mess around, average like 23 next year.
Now, do you
But
move Clay?
no, I don't move Clay. Nah.
Okay.
I'm going down on the ship with Steph, Clay, and Draymond if I'm the Warriors. Like we're literally gonna let this thing crash and burn if it's up to me. Um, but I will tell you, I do think they got better. I will tell you though, when they do go to that death lineup, although I don't think they're going to start like that, when they do go to that death lineup of Chris, Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and Draymond, and now you got freaking Chris Paul running the show with these two dudes like running around. Oh my gosh, dog. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be like Chris Stapps Porzingis. Let me start off with this one. I'm pissed. Like as a, as a, as a Sixers fan, I'm pissed. Like it was bad enough they were only giving up Malcolm Brogdon, which it's like not even only Malcolm Brogdon's a really good player. He had some huge threes against the Sixers. Um, during that past playoff series that just happened. He's a great player. But the fact that that fell through and they were still able to go get him. Yeah, you gave up Marcus Smart, which we're going to see how that affects them. That's like literally the heart. And so every newspaper, every sports show that everybody's going to call Marcus Smart the heart and soul of that team. I'm not saying it like it's a hot take. It's obvious, but I do think that is going to have some sort of impact on them losing Marcus Smart. But even to give up that for Porzingis, I'm pissed because if this works, like that's a nasty trio of JB, JT, and Porzingis, and you can put Porzingis next to Al Horford or Robert Williams, and a rim protecting duo of Kristaps and Robert Williams. That sounds like a nightmare. Like I don't want to have to deal with that. So I'm pissed because on paper this has the potential to really work, but looking at it objectively, I don't. We haven't seen Kristaps play winning basketball in the NBA. Like, and by that, I mean, like, we've seen him play on some teams with some winning seasons. On the Knicks, I think they might have had a winning season or two while he was there, maybe. They were winning with the Mavs, but I hated the way that Rick Carlisle used Porzingis on the Mavericks. He made him strictly a pick and pop, spot up, shoot guy. And I get it. Yeah, that's his greatest strength. But at the end of the day, the dude's 7'3". Like, golly, get him on the block like 4 or 5 times a game. My goodness. And that was really apparent in the bubble. And it was one of the main things people couldn't stop talking about was that like Kristaps is just floating on the perimeter, and people were talking about him. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, he's doing what he's told. Like this is clearly coaching. Like Rick Carlisle's telling him, stay in the corner, stay out, pick and pop. So yeah, they were in the playoffs, but to me, he didn't even get the chance to show what he could really do. But that basically leads me to what I'm saying. Like, what can he really do? Like, now that he's on the Celtics, obviously the guys are still JT and JB. That's 1 and 2 respectively. And as we saw in this past playoff, sometimes they need that third guy who can consistently go get it. Derek White was balling out of his mind, but are you really counting on him to do that again in this postseason? Brogdon was getting some buckets, but again, how consistent? He went MIA against the Heat, no pun intended. Marcus Smart, highly inefficient. So now they got a real consistent third scorer. And I want to see how consistent he's going to be in the playoffs. Like, I want to really see like what I don't care about the regular season because it's going to work. They're going to run through teams. Like, if they have a losing streak, I don't care. It's going to be fine. Like, they have the talent with a good coach and a good system. It's going to look good in the regular season. I just want to see how Kristaps is going to show up in the playoffs. That's what I'm most looking forward to seeing with that. But overall, as a Sixers fan, I'm very displeased that this has taken place.
Yeah, I feel like it was a fantastic trade. I think it would have been even better if they got Brogdon off instead. But what I will say before getting into the Celtics, the Warriors, I don't know what's going on with the Wizards. I don't know like if they're only talking to certain teams about players and doing other teams because it seemed like they're doing a lot of shady business over there. But if the Warriors, if you're gonna give the Wizards pool, you should have been like, no, I want Chris. They should have got Porzingis to me, and then you worried about like whatever else after. Like you're the Warriors, like you can get somebody else if you wanted another guard or whatever because you got rid of Poole. They should have traded for Porzingis. Now, what I would say about Porzingis on the Celtics, I think is going to be fantastic with him, Robert Williams, and Horford. A lot of people are low on Horford. I think Horford is amazing. And now his contract is getting less and less. Like it's a big pay decrease this year. So it's perfect to keep him. Marcus Smart, like I get it, heart and soul kind of thing, but people didn't want to move off him. I was fine moving off Marcus Smart. He thinks like the shots he takes sometimes just like throws me off. Why are you shooting the ball ever? But so I'm fine. I would rather have gotten rid of Brogdon, but I'm fine with that. But they probably moved off of Smart because he's making a crap ton of money for like the next 4 years. And it's like, do I really want to pay Marcus Smart for 4 years this much money? Like, I like you, but yeah, no. So, and especially they want to re-sign Derek White because he can also leave. So now you have Brogdon, Derek White, and then you could go get another guard if you wanted to, because you're good at the forward spot. they might want to try to re-sign Grant Williams, which I don't think they'll be able to. But you
I
go
don't
get
think
another
they can.
player.
From what I've seen, I think that pushes them into the luxury tax. And do you really want Grant Williams to push you in the luxury tax? He's a great player. I love Grant Williams, but do you want him to push you into the luxury tax? Probably not.
Yeah. So I'm not sold on the point guard spot still. Never was. So I'm hoping they can make a move, get a starting caliber point guard, or you just have to start Derek White. Good luck with that. But I love the move for Porzingis actually. Don't like the guy. He's a weirdo in New York. But I think it's a fantastic trade.
Lastly, wrapping up trade talks, Bradley Beal to the Suns. Thoughts and reactions on that?
It's something about them that I cannot take serious. This team, and I'm not sure what it is. I love Bradley Beal. I think it's obviously like if you could trade for Bradley Beal, especially since his agent is the dude's son. Mm-hmm. So we need to look into that, but that's another conversation. So you pull the heights.
An investigation.
That's just ridiculous. So it's just a lot of backroom dealing going on, but that's a no-brainer. If they keep Ayton, it's just like good luck with your roster. But I guess you say you could play two of them at a time and then play all of them in the fourth quarter together. If you want to break it up like that, where you stagger their minutes like that, it's going to take a lot of coaching rotations. But as far as I couldn't imagine who else can they like pick up a bunch of just like minimum guys. Like you're already past the threshold with four guys. So it's like, do you move off at Ayton and get a bunch of guys on picks and stuff and fill it out like that? I haven't seen, like, obviously Booker can score it, like, obviously. But he's kind of giving me like the Kyrie thing where it's like you are a phenomenal talent, but you were god awful every year of your life until a bunch of stars came to help you. So like even with the Kyrie thing, obviously the Luka thing just happened, so you can't really flame that. But you with Luka, you guys went from playoffs to not. Who else are you?
That was roster construction. They were never making the playoffs with that roster. They got rid of every defender on their.
Nah, I hear you, but
that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic.
But Kyrie with anybody has not even worked out a little bit, besides with LeBron.
Yeah.
So my point in that is obviously Booker's bigger and stuff like that, but I don't believe in Booker that much as like a championship like player.
Mm-hmm.
KD, I don't know. We haven't seen him be a championship player, not with the Warriors. Bradley Beal, again, you're a great player. I haven't seen you do anything. And granted, it's the Wizards, but like, okay, like show me something. Like, you score a lot of points on a bad team. Jordan Poole's about to do that. So, you know what I mean? So it's just like, together, sure, it's a collection of talent, but I don't know, like, especially if you keep Ayton, what are you guys really going to accomplish together? I don't really see a leader on their team. I don't see a leader on the coaching staff. I like Frank Vogel, but I don't see him as that guy that's going to be like, this is what we need to do to really win a championship. I don't know if he brings them together. I don't know if somebody start tripping what he's going to, I don't know the man, but I don't really know how. He doesn't give, Ime Udoka, Steve Kerr, like that type of like guy where you're like, all right, I'm about to listen to him. Like, let me stop tripping. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like those three are kind of running the show. Do they even like Ayton? I know Chris Paul didn't. I don't know if Booker does. Is Ayton going to guard anybody at all? Like he set out an elimination game. What was it? His ribs were hurting or something? Like, are you serious? Like, that's ridiculous. So I don't really, as presently constructed, they really got like 6 people on the roster. As presently constructed and with this coaching staff, I don't see a championship team yet.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised to see that the mainstream media is saying the same thing that I'm basically about. I thought like after this trade that everybody's going to be like, oh yeah, Suns are the favorites, run away, might as well hand them the title right now. I'm actually surprised to see that First Take, Undisputed, like every clip that I see pop up on my phone, they're actually like, well, they literally only have 4 players and they're going to have to do all vet minimums. Because when the Lakers wasn't it when the Lakers got Russ that it was literally just Russ, AD, LeBron, and all vet minimums. Like,
Yeah.
and that didn't work. Granted, that trio, in my opinion, I said this from day one, was a horrible idea because Russell Westbrook and LeBron James skill sets do not belong on the same court. Um, so this is similar to that in the sense of obviously they literally, I watched Bobby Marks talk about this. They literally cannot sign anyone but vet minimums, especially under the new CBA with like the new rules about this, like trying to dissuade against super teams. They can only get vet minimums.
Yeah.
With that being the case, the obvious move to me is Ayton has to go. And I was an Ayton fan. Like, I liked him, and I thought Monty Williams used him in a way of like, I get it. When like you got Booker and Chris Paul, those are your main ball handlers. Are you really going to let DeAndre Ayton post up 8-10 times a game? But he was really only getting used in pick and pop, pick and roll. Like he was not in a truly integrated part of the offense. So I felt I wanted him to go to the Pacers so bad. When he signed with the Pacers as a restricted free agent and Phoenix actually matched the sheet and brought him back, I was disappointed because I wanted to see him in Indiana. I felt like if he would have got with Halliburton and been the legit number 2 guy, that he would have been putting up 24 and 10, 12 in his sleep. I genuinely believe that. Believed that. Because after what I just saw in the playoffs, man, oh my gosh, that was like that's just heart. Like that's just heart right there. Like that's a player who I don't know if he really like I just don't know, but that was tough to watch. I would get rid of him. Now I see why they were concerned about giving him that money. Clearly they saw the vision. So for me, I'm getting rid of DeAndre Ayton. I'm shipping him off for like at least a fill-in center, like, you know, somebody who can just get the job done, rebound, run the floor, do something to try and protect the rim. But yeah, the second issue that I have with this, and this is another thing that's similar about the Lakers situation, is that Russell and LeBron didn't belong on the same court because their skill sets are redundant. They do the same thing. They're both ball dominant. They're both not great shooters. And they both are ideally rim slashers. So having them both on the floor, you're not to mention you're pairing that with AD, who isn't a great 3-point shooter either. There's a redundancy in skill sets, as JJ Redick eloquently likes to say. So when I look at Beal and Book, I see that same thing. Like they both literally do the same thing. They're both mid-range scorers who also like to get downhill and attack the rim. Obviously, I'm not trying to say like it's apples to apples with the whole LeBron, Russell, Beal, Booker, because the difference here is they both are elite shooters. They both can help each other to space the floor. So they'll mesh well. I just don't know how well. Like I don't know how a trio of Beal, KD, and Booker is really, really going to function. Obviously, Beal's going to be like he's going to be the one sacrificing here. I can't see him averaging more than 23 max. Like, because I don't know how many shots. His shots are obviously about to fall. This happens every time a super team comes together. Somebody's got to sacrifice, whether it be Chris Bosh, K Love, freaking whoever. But yeah, man, I got to see what they do with the rest of their roster. If they keep Ayton and they just sign all vet minimums, I don't know who the hell these players are, but they better be the best damn role players in the league, or else I don't see them getting past the Nuggets as the Nuggets are presently constructed. But any good championship team knows that they have to make more moves to stay that relevant. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the Nuggets are going to do as well. But yeah, man, I it's going to be fun to watch. I feel like they're going to be lighting people up on offense. I don't know how the hell you stop a trio of Beal, Book, and KD. That sounds impossible to keep up with in a 5-out situation. So we'll see. Not ready to crown them champs just yet, but it'll definitely work during the regular season for sure. Can't see them finishing any less than a 3 seed at worst. It should really just be them and the Nuggets because I don't know. We'll see. All right. So to close, topic number 3, get it off your chest. Something that you just got to let the world know. Something that might have just pissed you off this week, or not, something that you're actually pretty happy about, but maybe didn't get enough attention. Something you just got to let it out, man. This is a safe space. So for you, what would you say is one thing that you just absolutely have to get off your chest?
Well, it wouldn't be a real sports show if we didn't talk about the Knicks. Well, it was a beautiful draft. They had no picks, so that was actually positive for me. I was very happy to see that the Knicks had no picks. And you're probably like, why? Why would you not want the Knicks to have picks? They are god awful drafting.
I knew you was gonna say, yeah, of course I'm happy they don't have any picks. This way they can't screw it up.
Like they are so bad at every decision making, whether it's roster construction, whether it's picks, whether it's coaches. They are god awful. And the one time they got the coach right, they fired him. Name Michael Woodson. Shout out Indiana. Go Hoosiers. Not really though. But I was very happy. I wasn't with a man on the street. It was a man on the street the other day. And we're like walking around. And he's like, oh yeah, the draft was today. He was like, yeah, y'all got drafted by the WNBA. I was with some girls. And he was like, yeah. Then he was like, so who did the Knicks pick? And I'm like, WNBA, Knicks. Okay. But anyways, those are the people on the streets in New York at 3 a.m. But he was like, who did the Knicks pick? I'm like, they didn't have a pick. And I was like, wait, yeah, you're right. They didn't have a pick. And I'm like, tell him, I'm like, yeah, like, that's why the draft went so well. It was amazing.
You like, now that I think about it.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I'm ecstatic about that happened this week. The Knicks not being a part of the draft that happened in New York City.
Damn. Oh, that was a nice little sprinkle you put in New York City. I didn't even put two and two together. One thing I gotta get off my chest. James Harden. I've calmed down. I did not want to see that man in the vicinity of the city after that playoff series. And in all seriousness, though, that wasn't even, this was me. My rationale behind this was he didn't make more than 4 shots in 5 of the 7 games against the Celtics. Yes, he had 2 Herculean 40-point games that he basically single-handedly won for us. But I'd rather have you consistently give me 20 than give me 40 twice and be MIA the other 5 games. Like,
Jimmy Butler, but go ahead.
He was hurt. He was hurt. His ankle was hurt.
Point
But James was very visibly older and slower. He does not get the same foul calls he used to get. He cannot get past people the way he used to. And he really can't finish at the rim the way that he used to. He really can't. Like, I'm pretty sure he shot below 50% on layups in that series, at rim finishes that series. That's disgusting. So I didn't want to see him back. I'm like, he's only going to be older. He's only going to be slower. No. But now the reports are coming out. He's thinking about re-signing. And I'm not completely opposed. It just can't be on a 3+ year deal for max money. Or if it is going to be max money, make it 2 years. But I know he's going to be looking for more years than that. So we'll see. But the one thing that I got to get off my chest is James Harden can come back to the Sixers for me. But we need somebody, man. Like, we got to finesse something. Like, we got to get Tobias out of here. Like, we got to get, we need somebody else to or Tyrese really needs to make that jump and assert himself next year.
It's like you've been listening to me.
Yeah, I did. Next year he really does though. Like
point shaving.
Look, man, he played better than James consistently. I'll tell you that much. I will pull up the stats right now. I will literally
I don't care about stats. I watched
It's not even just the stats. I watched the games. James Harden was ass. Like, he sucked. Like, he was not good. He had 2 fantastic games, but outside of that, he was garbage and it was hard to watch. And I just say the stats would reflect that.
Alrighty. Well, I'm not gonna be a James Harden apologist. So you got it. You and your Sixers. figure it out. Tyrese Maxey was point shaving though, and I stand by that. And that was y'all number 2 scorer. He needs to get himself together. And apparently Nick Nurse is the answer. That's hilarious too, but that's another conversation.
That is a whole nother conversation. I'm withholding judgment on that whole thing. I think it's a good hire. We'll see how it actually works out. That'll wrap it up. Episode 1, Agree to Disagree podcast in the books. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be coming at you next week with more hot takes and, more and more outlandish statements, a little bit more sports talk. But yeah, that's it for me, Justin Pay. T, you got anything to say to the people before we head out?
Go New York.
All right. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.